Hi everyone. Thank you all for taking out your valuable time and being here. Today the topic is blending fine and gross motor skills with creativity. We hope to deliver the importance of these skills. We've earlier catered to topics like understanding children and making the best use of this lockdown. Here we had spoken about how important is it to let the kids get bored. We had also touched upon the topic of what is child abuse, how do you manage different activities in the given time, and also about importance of reading and introducing language. Another topic being simple ways to do alphabets, numbers, and science. If you have happened to miss any of these topics, we will be sharing links of the same here in the chat window as well as on the Facebook Live. We have with us for three panelists today. We have with us Riddhi Doshi, Brinda Zaveri, and Drishti Hemani, Drishti Mehta, sorry. Basically, we have our creative heads here of Little Oaks. I would request Shweta Rupani to share the links on the chat and the Facebook Live. All right, so good afternoon to all of you again. I, Ritu Joshi, on behalf of the team Little Oaks, welcomes all of you and welcomes our panelists for the day to this webinar series. The topic of today's webinar is blending fine and gross motor skills with creativity. Over the years, being a parent of my two kids, also being on the other side of the table, I have seen parents dread when they hear the term parent-teacher meeting. Why? Specifically for the preschoolers. Yes, even for the preschoolers, this is a scary word, parent-teacher meeting. What we've seen is that what we've been informed by the parents is during the parent-teacher meeting, the schools come forward and give you the problem area of the child. They showcase that this is a problem in your child, but how do you resolve this problem is not explained, leaving the parent very confused on why is my child facing this problem. We at Little Oaks have always looked at each child as an individual and catered to the child's need as per their requirements. Each child is different, with different skills naturally gifted to her, and also with challenges in a few areas. It is very important for a school to take responsibility. Just a second. It is very important for a school to take the responsibility of the child and make sure that the problem areas, when shared with the parent, go with equipping them with tools on how to cope with these problems, and not leaving the parent alone to struggle, but teaming up with them and diligently and responsibly working on it together. We are today going to talk about a very important development area, I would say areas of the child, that is fine and gross motor skills. Now, whenever we hear the term fine motor skills, we always just associate this with writing, that fine motors means writing. So whenever there is a teacher or somebody going to come to you saying that the child is having an issue with fine motor, or there is an issue with writing, or when the parent notices that the child is unable to write well as per what he is supposed to write, so what does the parent do when this happens is the parent will make the child even write even more. The practice of writing is given more, resulting into rejection coming from the child, because the child is not confident here. The child's muscles are not trained here. The fine motors are not trained here. So the child is going to get more irritated and is going to result into rejection. They are going to start disliking writing, which is something that they have to do for a long time. And if I say this, then I would also put light that each school has a very well designed curriculum program which specifically caters to fine motor development. There is a conscious method followed for developing this, which is as a part of the curriculum with all the schools. So we have with us today Mrs. Drishti Mehta. She has done her master's in FAC, that is Fine Arts and Craft. She also has 7 years of experience with childhood care, early childhood care. She's a passionate teacher and the creative head of curriculum at Little Oaks. She has a special skill of understanding the children and catering to their needs per se that child, which she very well collaborates with instilling values also in the children. So we welcome you, Drishti. Hi. So,
Hi,
Drishti,
thank
can
you.
you please tell us more about what is fine motors, what is its importance, and what happens specifically when it's underdeveloped in the child? Over to you, Drishti.
Sure. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Mrs. Joshi. Now, here I'm going to talk about fine motor skills. So, there are four major aspects of fine motor development which all of us should be aware of. The first one, what are fine motor skills and why is the development required? Fine motor skills involve the use of small muscles that control the hand, fingers, and the thumb. It involves the eye, hand, and finger coordination. This helps the children perform important life tasks. Developing fine motor skills in early childhood helps build the foundation for important future skills like feeding themselves or grasping a toy, buttoning a shirt, zipping some clothes, writing, drawing, and many such smaller but important tasks. The ability to perform these tasks will help your child's self esteem and confidence to increase. Then comes the second one. What is the age when fine motor begins to develop? Fine motor development begins from the time a child is born and goes on till the age of 7. For example, when your child is born, we swaddle them, and when they try to get out of that cloth, they use their fine motor muscles. Then, as they grow older, they tend to hold your clothes when you're carrying them. Again, they're using their fine motor muscles. Then, as they keep growing, they will start holding their bottle, the milk bottle, on their own. They will start playing with toys. Here, they're using their fine motor muscles. So, fine motor development begins right from the day your child is born. Then comes the third one. How underdeveloped fine motor skills affects a child. Your child may struggle with performing tasks that require fine motor skills. This can cause frustration in your child and can upset them that they are not able to complete their everyday tasks. For example, when your child may find it difficult to hold scissors and cut along the line. It might also affect their writing and coloring skills. So these kids are very smart to understand that they are unable to perform a task that their friends are able to. So develop their fine motor muscles to enhance their confidence and to make sure that your child is not falling behind in the class. And to avoid this, you can give them a lot of fine motor activities. But to uh, to lose the, I'm sorry. And what will happen if they are not very strong with their fine motor muscles? They will absolutely reject a given task that will involve their fine motor muscles. So when a teacher says focus on the fine motor muscles, the parent must take conscious efforts because this is affecting their child's confidence and their self-esteem. The fourth one, your child is right-handed or left-handed. As they start to develop their fine motor skills, children may use both their hands, left and right, to do simple things like picking up a toy. This is because they are able to do this task with both their hands with ease. And this confusion tends to settle down at the age of 4. And until then, if your kids are using both their hands, it's absolutely normal. Then, 3 stages of how fine motor develops. The first stage is the pincer grip. The pincer grip is the coordination of the index finger and the thumb to hold any item. Each time you hold a pen or you button your shirt, you're using your pincer grip. While it may come naturally to adults, it is a very important milestone in the fine motor development of a child. Between the age of 8 to 12 months, the kids develop this grip, which means they'll be able to hold smaller objects between their index finger and the thumb. To develop this grip, strengthen their index finger Like, how will you do that? Let them point and poke at things. This is the first stage. Strengthen their index finger. So you can give them books and let them point out at pictures in that book. Let them point out at their own body parts. Then you can also give them dough, where they can push and make holes into the dough. You can also pinch the dough with their thumb and their index finger. Then you can give them some small food items in a tray and let them push it around the tray, the food, with their pointer finger. Then you can also give them rice puffs to eat. Let them eat on their own independently. Then you can also give them some old remote controls if you have, and let them press buttons on it with their pointer finger. Then comes the wrist movement. The wrist position affects the mobility of your fingers. Now, if you have a pencil around you, you can just pick up the pencil and hold it with your wrist bent downwards. Now try and move your fingers. It'll be a little difficult and you will feel a little stiffness while you move your fingers. Now stretch your wrist like this upwards and now try to move your fingers. It'll be more easier and you will feel more control over your fingers. When you hold the wrist slightly extended like this, the muscles operating the fingers can function more easily, which results in better control over your fingers. These wrist exercises are going to help your child have better handwriting in the future. So you can play a restaurant game. What you can do is give your child a toy tray and let them stretch their hand out like this. And you can place the tray on their hand with smaller toys like a small cup or something like that. And then let them come and serve you tea. And start with lighter objects. And as you feel their wrist is strengthening, you can put more heavier objects over there. Then you can also try some fun gross motor exercises. Like if you have big toy boxes, let them push it around the house or let them just push some chair around the house. This will again strengthen their wrist muscles. Then crawling. Crawling is a very good activity for strengthening their shoulder. And this also stretches and loosens tight wrists. So these games and activities will also enhance their hand and finger and eye coordination, and it will definitely benefit their fine motor skills. Then the third one, the tripod grip. The tripod grip uses three fingers of the hand, that is the thumb, the pointer finger, and the middle finger. The child develops this grip around the age of 3 to 4 years. So this grip, why is it important? The thumb, the middle finger, and the pointer finger and the middle finger is very essential to do a number of tasks like just writing or buttoning, easy tasks like that. So here I'm going to give you a few methods where you can enhance their tripod grip, because this will later help them in writing well and faster. You can give them toothpicks and ask them to poke it through some sponge, or if you, and after they're able to do that easily, you can give them a cardboard which is a little more harder. Then you can let them stick pom pom balls. If you don't have pom pom balls, you can make smaller paper balls and ask them to hold the balls with their three fingers and stick it, and you can create some nice artwork like that. Then you can also have a buttoning race. So get two shirts out and start buttoning it, and whoever does it first wins the race. Then you can also give them kidney beans and keep a few containers. Let them hold the kidney beans like this at a distance from the container and let them drop it into the container. So after they've mastered this with their fingers, give them tweezers to do this. Then you can also give them different sizes of crayons, like thick crayons or thinner crayons to scribble. This will also enhance their tripod grip. So these activities are going to enhance and help improve their fine motor skills, fine motor development, and in result, they will write better and quicker. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Drishti, for giving us an understanding of the topic, showing us the importance of development of fine motors. I will take your attention to a very important aspect where when you see the child falling behind with fine motors. This is something which a parent or a teacher is going to notice when the kid is coming to the nursery. Like right now, the kids born between 2016 October and 2017 September will be going to the nursery. So what happens is there is an age gap of 1 year between the eldest kid to the youngest kid in the class. So for example, if we take the example of this coming year, that is the year commencing from the June. So here the children falling in the class of nursery will be having kids born from 2016 October to 2018 17 September. So the kids who are born at the towards the end, the youngest lot I'm talking about, has a little underdeveloped fine motor skills. So the parents who have kids born between, I would say, June 2017 to September 2017 should really pay attention in this given period of lockdown, where you are taking a little more efforts in developing their fine motors with the ideas what Drishti has given, because this is very important. So when they are going to come to school, when they will be physically going to school, or even when they are sitting for the online sessions, even I would here talk about the kids going to junior KG, the kids born between 2015 October and 2016 September. The kids ranging from June 2016 to September 2016 born in that frame will also be expected to write as quickly as the kid who is the eldest in the class. So this is something which is going to happen every year. So we at Little Oaks always work little more on this age group of children. We have different tables whenever we are doing fine motor development, whenever we are doing writing or worksheets. We have two different tables in the classroom where this age group, this birthday kids are sitting differently, which is not going to happen in all the schools. So even we talk to the parents about the same, where the kids are falling into that age group, that you please work a little more in development of fine motors, because it is not naturally coming. And whatever said and done, competition, comparison is something which is going to happen from the parents' point of view also. And the kid is also going to notice that how am I going able to write, and how is my friend able to write. So we don't want our kids to fall behind or get into any complexes. So specifically, I would again draw attention of the parents who have kids born between these birth dates, that is July to September, to pay special attention on development of fine motors. Thank you so much, Drishti. Also, I would talk about frustration, what it leads to. Yes, as Drishti rightly said, that when a child is not able to cope up and the child is not able to give the results as desired by his teachers or his parents, it is going to lead to frustration. So the only medicine here for a parent, or only idea that we can provide the parent, is to be patient and to not point a finger or label the child that you are slow, you are not able to write, you are not able to finish. Rather than be a little patient with the child and give them small tasks, take this in a very serious way and pay attention whenever you're doing something, whenever you're playing a game. Make it sure that it is revolving around fine motor development. Give child small tasks where you're developing confidence again in the child. So please, parents, very consciously pay attention to this topic. So we now have Brinda with us to classify this topic and give it to us in bits and pieces on how we do this in the house. So Drishti has thrown light on why this is important, and we have Brinda who's going to show us techniques and creative activities on how do we do this. So Brinda Zaveri, hi Brinda.
Hi.
She has done her commercial arts. She has a 10 years of experience with early childhood care. She's a passionate teacher and the creative head of curriculum at ELO, Little Oaks. She has her ways to make complex things very simple for the children. So that is exactly what she's again going to do right now. So Brinda, can you please throw some light on how do you blend creativity with fine motors and bring it in the houses?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Joshi, and welcome all the viewers. Today, I'll put some light on creativity in regards to fine motor skills. Creativity is the act of turning new and imaginative ideas into reality. Drama, music, dance, and visual art foster creativity and imagination in toddlers. These activities also help young children to develop their senses through exploration and discovery. We need to let these kids free to express how they see this situation lockdown. Kids will express their imaginary ideas in many ways, be it art, craft, music, role play. Now, how to encourage these kids during lockdown through creativity? Activities can be divided into 4 parts: art activity, dance time, music, and role play. We'll start with art activities. Paper crumpling. Give your child a paper. Let the child use on both the hands to crush the paper together and let them play paper toss or pass the ball. This is the way you do the activity. You can crumple the papers like this and stick it. Second is paper tearing. Paper tearing into small pieces can be fun and exciting, satisfying for them. The act of tearing encourages useful finger and coordination skills in order to tear paper. Your toddler will learn to hold the paper between thumb and index finger of each hand. Then they have to move each hand in a different direction. This is how you do paper tearing. Third is magic painting. You will need candle, paint and brush. Rub the wax on the sheet of the paper as per the design kids want. Paint it. You will find the design done by the wax which is visible in white. The wax part will resist the paint. This is how you do magic painting. Fourth is block painting. You will need paint and paper. Drop small blobs of paint somewhere around the middle of the paper. Fold the paper into half and let the child squish the paper using their palm. When the child will open it, there will be a design created on both the sides. This is the way you fold the paper, and when you squish it, and you can see it's a butterfly. Fifth is mosaic. Lightly draw a picture on a piece of paper, but do not shade it or put a lot of details in it. Get some colored paper, cut or shred the paper into small pieces. Glue your pieces of paper over sketch you just made and let it dry and finished. This is how you do mosaic. Sixth is pictures from books and newspapers. From an early age, a child is exposed to books at home. The color image has a powerful effect on young mind. Cut the pictures from magazines, newspapers, or old storybooks and arrange them attractively, or cut pictures which can build up any stories. This is pictures from books and newspaper. Seventh is maida pasting. In a shallow dish, mix maida and water to form a smooth paste. Add a little color and mix it well. Using a brush, spread the paste on the design and let it dry. It will give a 3D effect. This is maida pasting. Eighth is straw painting. Set up a tray with a heavy sheet of paper. Place a few bowls filled with a bit of liquid watercolors nearby. Place a dropper in or next to the watercolors. Invite your child to draw watercolor paint into the dropper and then squeeze it on the paper. With a straw, blow the paint around the paper. This is the straw painting. Seventh is brush painting. You will need an old toothbrush, paint and water. Dip all the old toothbrush in some watery color and spray across the paper with the help of their thumb or finger. You can even use some cutouts to place it on the paper. This is how you do brush painting. Eighth is sponge dabbing. You will need sponge and paint. Dip the sponge into the bowl of paint and start dabbing on the image drawn. This is a sponge dabbing art. 9 comes paper twisting. You will need different color crepe paper or Fevicol. Children can be given crepe paper of different sizes and color and ask them to tear it in strips of this activity. Child uses his finger muscles through which paper can be twisted to all different sizes and color. Encourage them to stick the paper as close as possible or just outline the image drawn. This is how we do paper twisting. And 10 is scribbling. Kids can do scribble on the blackboard or stick papers on the wall and do the scribbling. For all these activities, designate a space to the child, put up a paper there and ask the kids to draw or paint on that space. Label it. They will really like it, like it's a Arav's corner, for example. So let the kids do painting, whatever he wants, and parents can keep changing papers. Keep something at the bottom so it is not messy. Parents can give a stool to that child, and so he can sit for minutes together and he can do whatever he wants to do. You can do fine motor development with music. Music, when moms are busy in the kitchen, they can give steel balls and ask them to play music on it with spoon. While doing kitchen work, you can recite a rhyme and kids can make a music. Jaltaram is a musical instrument which uses different sizes of bowl filled with water, different amount of water, and 2 sticks to create music. Kids can easily make their own version and play with beauty of elements of nature, creating music through Jaltaram. Then comes dance and play. Have a free dancing time with the family. This will work as a stress buster, not only for the kids, but also for the other family members in the house. You can organize online games for your child and his peers. Arrange a Zoom session. Kids can recite rhymes or create music while together. Then you can even plan an activity in jar. You can make small chits of small activities, fold them and put them in the jar, and remove one activity chit at a set of the day. Activities like crumple a paper, squeeze a sponge, scribble for 1 minute, have such simple tasks. This will teach them how to wait for right time and they will look forward to this ever. Before winding up toys like wood blocks, Lego pieces, cars or magnets, prompt your child to categorize them by color. This will help them to build eye and hand coordination. Then comes role play. Kids can act like a chef who can roll clay dough with a roller pin. Kids can whisk the juice with their hand. Role play develops their communication skills and forms their use of language. Give them to explore, experiment, and even investigate. Lastly, discuss creativity. After they are done with their artwork, sit and discuss with them. Show your interest towards their work. They need appreciation. Give them incentives, which is right now available in this house. So this is how you engage your kids creatively. So I rest my topic by saying, creativity is contagious. Pass it on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brinda, for making this sound so simple and easy. I would request you to show all the activities once again, whatever you've done, because it was not, I think, very clear for the audience. So you could start with the collage and leave it there for at least a few seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is paper tearing, paper crumpling.
So the embossed
yes,
the
crimples,
that is a paper crumple. So she's basically painted the strawberry. So you can ask the child to paint the strawberry and The paper crumpling can be done to make it look like the strawberry,
Yes.
the pips that the strawberry has. Yeah.
This is spray painting.
Spray painting, which is toothbrush, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a spray painting where she's used a
Fish.
toothbrush. Yeah. She's made a fish. Yes.
Maida painting.
A maida painting, gives a little 3D effect. The maida paste painting. Yeah.
Pictures from magazines and old storybooks.
This really looks very interesting. So you cut out pictures of different sizes and shapes. Even the kid can do it, and the rest she's been covered it with painting. Yeah. And give a shape.
Yes. This is straw painting.
There is a blow painting,
Straw painting.
which is done in the boat. This is an activity which kids love to do, and this is very good for. There are a lot of kids who don't have speech clarity. So this is going to be a very activity, or very good activity for them to for the tongue muscles basically. Yeah.
Sponge dabbing.
Sponge dabbing. This is something that kids love to do because the sponge is going to soak in a lot of paints, and that squeezing of the sponge gives a lot of fun element, adds up to the fun element.
Wax painting.
So the white part that you see here
Magic paint.
is the wax that she's painted the balloon with, and then she's done the painting. So the wax has resisted the paint, and it's white. The rest of the page is green. The rest of the balloon is green. Yeah.
Paper tearing.
Paper tearing. This is collage work, which we do a lot in the school, and the kids love paper tearing. So keep giving them a lot of paper to tear or paper crumple, or they love this.
This is blob painting.
This is blob painting. The blob painting is also called a
Squish painting.
squish painting. So even this is a very interesting thing. She's made a butterfly out of this. This is very interesting, and it's literally magic for them because they've just put blobs of drops of water, blobs of paint on the paper, and folding the paper, and you open, and we did this a lot when we were kids. Yeah.
This is mosaic.
Mosaic painting. Even this is very interesting.
That's it done.
Thank you so much again, Brinda, for classifying these activities into simpler form. And you again have emphasized, everybody must have noticed that we have been emphasizing on the child's corner in each of the webinars. When you have a corner in the house, it's like giving ownership to the child. The feeling is very different and very good. And bringing art, dance, paint, music also helps releasing happy hormones in the body. So, which is going to make a parent's work very easy. So all the resources are available in your house. Give them small work. Make it very interesting. Fusing it with different techniques, new things coming in. It will attract the children. Don't sit with them when you just have 10 or 15 minutes. That you have to finish this quickly. You need some time. And also don't sit with your child holding your phone and looking into your phone. So when you're doing these kind of activities, you need some patience. Give them undivided 15 to 20 minutes of time, and the kid is really going to listen to what you have to say. To take this a step further on what else can be done in those 15 minutes when you sit with the child, let's talk about gross motor skills. Lockdown time kids. Lockdown time parents and the kids are confined into the four walls while they are used to running everywhere. They are used to playing in the garden, running in the building compound, cycling, playing with their friends, basically indulging into a lot of running. You will never see a child walking when the child is independently moving in the building compound or even in the school or even outdoors in the school area. They love to run because that is the kind of energy that they have. And what is happening to them right now? They're locked in the house, resulting into them getting irritable and resulting into them throwing tantrums. The food intake remains the same. as in the mother is going to expect the child exactly the same amount of food which they ate before the lockdown. They are expecting the kids to behave the same way exactly before they were behaving before the lockdown. But is the child in the same state of mind? Is a child having places where the child is able to channelize his energies? No. Are the parents doing enough for the kids to channelize the energy? Are we seeing the gross motor development as importantly as we should be seeing? So we have with us today Riddhi Doshi, sorry, Riddhi Bora. I'm so sorry. So we have with us Mrs. Riddhi Bora. She has done her interior designing, and she has been associated with early childhood care for the last 7 years. She is a passionate teacher and a creative head of curriculum with Little Oaks. Her specialty being cutting down complex concepts and plating them in the most attractive ways for the children. So over to you, Riddhi. Could you just throw some light on what is gross motor development? A, how important it is, and what is going to happen? What is it going to result in if the child is underdeveloped when it comes to gross motor? And how do you do it? And
Sure.
yeah,
Thank you so much, Mrs. Joshi, for introducing me, and a big thank you for giving me this opportunity. A warm welcome to all our viewers. Today, I will be talking about gross motor development. But before that, let's understand what is motor development. The skills that enable a child to move are known as motor skills. The two main types of motor skills are fine motors and gross motors. It is important that both of these are well developed in children in order to be ready for school and to function independently. Gross motors are larger movements a baby makes with his arms, legs, and entire body. So, crawling, jumping, and running around are all gross motor skills. These abilities are usually acquired during childhood as a part of a child's motor learning. It helps child gain strength and confidence in his body. It helps them do exercise and physical activities, which is integral part for a healthy lifestyle. We all have heard about five senses, haven't we? But did you all know that the kids have seven? Yes, the kids have seven. Sixth being the vestibular sense, which is particularly related to inner ear and more generally to the sense of balance. The seventh being proprioception sense, which means awareness of the position and movement of the body. In general, to be aware of one's body and its abilities. These are acquired in young growing years, and so we usually associate grown-ups with five senses only. To acquire these skills, let the child move around through the space and explore. That is when they learn to crawl and move around with the help of a crawler. When the child is learning to walk, they tend to grab on different things to take support and pull themselves up in order to be able to walk. So this is when they are discovering the abilities of their body and also learning to gain some balance. There are several factors that causes delay in gross motor development in a child. The most common one is premature birth, which can cause muscles to develop and gain strength slowly, which leads to delayed gross motor milestones. The other factor that is often seen in kids nowadays is W position. Now, what is W position? And why does a child tend to sit in W position? Child may sit in W position because it gives them a wide base of support during play, which means then they do not need to use their core muscle strength as much to sit upright, resulting in poor balance. To know if your child has poor gross motor skills, look if the child is clumsy in doing tasks, often sits in W position, keeps colliding, and keeps dropping things. To promote gross motor skills, let them explore, touch, and feel freely. Climb up and down, ride on riders or bicycles. Spend a few minutes of bathing time in water play. Play a lot of ball games, beginning with a big ball and then going on to small ones. Do a lot of action rhymes every day. Play shadow games where the child is your shadow and has to imitate your actions. Let them imitate some movements of different animals. And the most important one is to promote problem solving. That is, let them figure out way to do if they are stuck. The mother is right there to hold the child even before the child falls down. So let's stop doing that and let them figure out their way and solve their own problems. Now that we have knowledge about what are gross motor skills, let's talk about its importance, especially in the current scenario of lockdown. Let's say on a normal day in a child's life, they are involved in a lot of physical activities, starting from reaching the school, playtime in the school, indoor games, moving around in the class, spending time playing outdoor, and then playing in the play area for a few minutes post school, riding on riders, taking stairs, or going down to play in the evenings, or going to the garden, and then playing something at home independently or with the parents. Now, this is a typical day of almost every preschooler. But did you know that on an average, a child between the age of 3 to 5 year old takes 11,000 to 13,000 steps a day? Yes, parents, you heard me right. 11,000 to 13,000 steps a day. And what is happening to them currently? No going outdoors, no schools, no playgrounds, and less of physical play, which leads them to high energy levels, irritation, and leaves the child hyper, leading them to crankiness and throat tantrums. They are used to playing and running around in open spaces and are missing that currently in this period of lockdown. We can't take them out. So why not bring their playground home? Sounds like a lot of fun, right? But you think that it is a lot of work. So let me help you out with a few ideas that won't take much of your time, but will definitely ease your day and make the child happy, less irritable, and drain their energy in the right way. Isn't exactly what that is what we want right now. So I am going to give you 11 ideas that will ease out your day with very less efforts. First, make a basketball game by cutting the bottom of a plastic bag or a garbage bag, stick it around a cooker ring, and fix it on a door or wall using tips. Second, let's play ball toss. Place a bin or a bucket at some distance and create a crease using chalk or colored tape so the child has to stand behind the crease and aim to toss the balls right in the bin. Third, set up a hurdle race circuit where the child has to climb up and down a footstool, crawl under a chair, hop and reach the next point, walk like an animal, go from under the table and then finish with a hopscotch created using colorful papers or simply by drawing it using chalks. Fourth, do a relay race with a stopwatch and a whistle, where the child has to transfer the balls or blocks or animal toys one at a time from one corner of the room to the other in given time, and then blow a whistle when the time is up, and then have the child count how many toys could he transfer. Fifth, do an alphabet hop, a very fun way to revise alphabets. Write alphabets one on each paper and stick them on the floor, creating a pattern. The child has to say the alphabet and jump next to it in alphabetical order. Sixth, play a number hunt game in which you stick number cards all around the house on things, walls, at different places, and then you have to tell a number to the child, and he has to hunt that number and get it to you. Seventh, using colored tapes, create a racing track in a corner of the house where they can race with their cars, crawl through the racing tracks, or line their toys on the tapes. Eighth, make a life-size air hockey game. For this, I would like to share a picture with you. Until I explain, you can please go ahead and take a picture of the game. Ritu ma'am, can you please enable my screen share?
In a minute. Ritu.
Yes, ma'am, sure.
Done, Ritik.
Okay. All right, so on your screen, you can see this image where they've created a life-size air hockey game. So instead of the tables, you can make bunkers using pillows. You can lay down the mattresses like is shown in the picture, or just use a pillow, one for the child and one for yourself on the opposite end. Use a wooden roti press instead of a striker, or a ball instead of a puck, and then start the game. Okay, so this is the wooden puck that I'm talking about, the wooden roti press that I'm talking about. It is a very common tool used in Gujarati households. So you can use this as your striker and a ball as the puck and start playing your life-size air hockey game. One of the most fun and best activities to connect with the child is have a dance session at night followed by a pillow fight with the music on. 10th, on Sunday, make it a family yoga time and try doing different animal yoga poses with your child. I am sure your child will start looking forward to Sundays. 11th, gross motors are not only about playing games. It can also be in the form of a painting session where the child has to stand and paint the best The best one is stained glass painting on a window. To make it hassle-free, stick a transparent plastic sheet on the window and let them write or draw what they see from the window with sketch pens or with using paints, and it can be easily removed after the kids are done. This is the best way of letting the kids connect to the outer world in this time of lockdown. To add a little more in regards to gross motor skills, kids are more active with one half of their body. That is, some kids are active with their torso, that is their arms, and the rest with their trunk, that is legs. Identify your child and plan activities accordingly. To give more clarity, if your child is more active with his torso, plan more of getting up and moving around activities to activate the trunk, like treasure hunt, hurdle race, standing and painting, and alphabet hop. If your child is more active with his trunk, then plan more of upper body movement games like car racing on the floor and air hockey. Because striking a right balance between the torso and the trunk is important for holistic gross motor development of a child. A few lockdown activities that involve the whole body are jumping jacks, animal yoga, music and movement, and a bowling game created using bottles as bowling pins and ball as bowling ball. Hope this piece of information will help you in understanding your child's growth and their need of the hour better, especially in this time of the lockdown. I rest my topic here. Thank you for listening to me and make the best of this lockdown. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Riddhi, for taking us through important areas related to gross motor skills, like reasons the child has to, like the reasons that you have given forward of what is underdeveloped gross motor skills. And most importantly, taking our attention to paying attention to the whole body, because if half of the body of the child is not in use, if there is no balance, because generally what is the child doing is sitting and doing activities where the child needs good amount of movement also. So thank you so much for taking us through the whole of the gross motor journey. With this, we would come to the question answer session where we have a few watercolors. What colors to be used? You can use crayons. See, if the child is a younger child, which is the playgroup kid, you can give them tripod grip wax crayons, which are available in the market. Watercolor is the best for any age group of children. Brinda, can you throw some light on this question? What color?
Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
What is the color that you can use for the children? Watercolor or crayon?
Starting, I mean, when they are very very early age, I think the crayons, wax crayons, will be very useful for them for their wrist movement and the pincer grip.
All right. So the
Yes.
grip, tripod grip crayon, which
Yes.
are available in the market.
Yes.
So kids going from playgroup to nursery, you can use that. The kids which are coming to the playgroup, they need not use these crayons. For them, the watercolors, finger painting, dabbing, the activities which were given by Brinda teacher will be more useful. Can you please repeat how do you do straw painting? Brinda, could you please repeat how do you do straw painting?
Yes. Yeah, straw painting. Set up a tray with a very heavy sheet of paper. You can place few bowls filled with a bit of liquid watercolor nearby. Place a dropper in it or next to the watercolor. Invite your child to draw watercolor paint into the dropper, then squeeze it on the paper. So basically you can just put some drop of color on the paper, and you need a straw, and you can just blow it, and when you blow it, all the colors will go in all the directions. This is how the painting will be created.
This is like magic painting and a lot of fun basically, because
Yes.
when you don't know where the color is going, it's even more attractive and fun time for the child. I hope we've catered to both the questions. The next question is, what is the right age to introduce play scissor and play knife to the child? So play knife is something we give to the playgroup kids also in the school, where we have vegetables stuck with Velcro and we ask the kids to cut it with the knife. I'm not talking about the kitchen knife. I'm talking here about the knife which is used for the children, which is designed for the children, which is not it's a harmless knife. Play scissor, the right age to give play scissor to the child is when the child is 3 years of age. When this is developed, their fingers are developed, and the child is able to have a grip of the scissor, because the scissor needs a grip of the pincer grip needs to be very, very powerful by then. Only then that you can use the scissor. So scissor, the best way to give scissor is you can give a line, a dotted line to the child and ask them to cut through the line. The paper strip should be very short, so the cutting is very easy. When the child is able to use both the hands, with one hand able to hold the paper and the other hand cut this. Anybody from you like to put some light here? Riddhi or Drishti, if you would like to throw some light on what is the right age to introduce play scissors, and I would also say, how do you do it?
The right age, as you said, is 3. That is correct. And like how we do it in the school, exactly the way you said it, we make the kids hold the paper with one hand, and they have to start cutting it. And initially, when you're doing it has to be a smaller patch where they don't have to keep moving forward. Just one cut. This is how you start initially, and then start going forward.
It is supposed to be interesting. These paper, it's like paper cutting. So when they're cutting this paper and you're asking them to stick, there is a job satisfaction which a kid gets, because it's something new that they are doing, something which they were not allowed to, which they are doing. So it's very exciting when we bring scissor in the school. It's very exciting. Can you post a list of activities shared by the teachers, or can we get this video? You will be able to, you will get this video for the future reference, and we will also definitely pull the complete list of activities on the Facebook Live of all the activities which the teachers have spoken about. Thank you so much, everyone, all the participants and all the viewers and all the attendees for listening to us and for joining this webinar. A big thanks to all the panelists, to Brinda Zaveri, Riddhi Vora, and Drishti Mehta for enlightening us with a lot of different avenues on fine motors, gross motors, development, with a lot of ideas and creativity adding to it with a lot of ideas and creativity. So a big thanks to all 3 of you. And we will be coming with the next webinar soon. So we have two in-demand topics where parents want us to do some activities in regards to how do you spend time with a 15-month-old child to 20-month-old. So they want us to do a webinar on 15-month to 20-month. We will definitely design and come up with that. The next webinar will be on the coming Monday. So stay with us and join us back on the next Monday. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Stay safe and stay home.